Lone Tree at 1:20. So if we're out of here by 12:20 or somewhere in through there, I think we're fine.
I'm on it.
Okay. I'm ready to count it down if you are, Barb.
Ready.
Dave? Yep, he's good. Three, two, one. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate, and it does it with Colorado's real estate authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb is a retired Navy veteran. Barb Schlinker is an author. Barb's a pilot, and she and her team do everything to enjoy all of Colorado's Front Range and all it has to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or search Barb. You'll find her on most of the popular You'll find her on most of the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. Barb, what are we talking about today?
Well, good morning, Richard. Actually, it's really interesting that this should be like flying high, busy as we could be type of time in the market just for seasonality. But what we're seeing right now is because the Fed kept the rates the same and because the inventory is surging right now and the prices or the number of sales have dropped by 15%. When you couple those together, not as many homes are selling. It's a little bit trickier to get a home under contract. So we're going to go over all the market in the first segment and just talk about what's going on. Historically, it doesn't look bad, but going forward, you really have to be priced right to make it happen. Then we're going to talk about the top ways to buy your next home without having to sell your current home. It's the number one problem for most people transitioning from house to house. And then we're going to talk about what does it cost to sell a house? And one of the questions I get all the time from sellers is, do I have to fix everything before I sell? And we'll kind of deep dive into that and discuss, whether or not it has to be a full-on remodel or just enough to get a buyer. And the very last segment is going to cover the most common reasons a Colorado home fails to sell. And as always, I love sharing my hot new listings. Richard?
Barb, now that the spring real estate season is heating up a little bit, prices vary according to different locations, of course, up and down the Front Range. But what is the current state of the Colorado Springs real estate market?
Well, in the Springs area, typically from right now all the way through August, that's when the prices tend to be the highest. And normally what we have seen for the last 4 years is really, really light inventory. However, that's changing right now. The inventory has really picked up just in the last couple of weeks. We've seen a surge of about 25 to 30% of available homes. So that means if you're selling a home, you have to be really, really competitive and price your home very realistically. And in my experience, the data that we're seeing looking historically does not really match what's going on in the market right now. Buyers are always looking for bargains. Those always go under contract, or the really, really pretty homes that are priced just right. You can always get a home run in that case. But right now, the way the rates are, a 30-year fixed is over 7.28%. It varies every hour, every day. And then an FHA VA loan is kind of in the upper sixes. So if that's the case, it's all about affordability. I recently had a buyer that came and looked at one of my homes that I thought was priced very, very well. It was down in Fountain. It's in superb condition. And we priced it just right. And this buyer wanted to make an offer. They loved the home, but then when they looked at the payment, they kind of, decided against it. They weren't real comfortable with their budget being exceeded, basically, just because they loved the home. So the new stats have just come out for the Pikes Peak region. If you are thinking of moving, this is obviously a great time of year just because the yards are starting to green up. Lots of buyers, especially military buyers. But what we are seeing is that there's more inventory than there was last summer by 25.6%. and the sales are less than they were last year. So when you group those together, we've got a problem. But at the same time, the average and the median price are showing a trend going upwards. So it's really confusing. And that's why if you're not priced just right, and if you're not in sale condition, it is very likely that your home could sit on the market a lot longer than we thought. Just looking El Paso County wide, the median price is in the upper fives. The average days on market is getting really high. It's about 66 days on market, just looking backwards in the last week or so. But in general, homes that are priced initially correctly, especially the first 30 days, tend to sell for the most money. If you look, more specifically in certain areas, Colorado Springs area, what my one statistical data says is that, the market is kind of in between a buyer and a seller's market, but home sales are sort of outstripping supply, but just slightly. If you look at Castle Rock, the average or median price actually dropped from last month to this previous month, and inventory's gone up just a little bit. So very similar, but the average price up there in Castle Rock is in the upper eights. Also, the average days on market are fewer, like 45 days. In areas like Teller County, Woodland Park, and Florissant, those areas, the inventory is very, very low, and those areas are actually starting to get hotter as we speak right now. Also, Pueblo, as of the 5th, the median price is probably about 370. And home sales are doing pretty well there as well. Average days on market in Pueblo, though, are a lot higher, 94 days. And one area I love to look at, just because I live in the area, is Monument. The median list price is about $775. However, to get a new construction tract home, you're going to spend almost $1 million to hand the sugar out to your neighbor from your window. So prices are pretty high in the Monument area. Most of the homes that are with acreage, though, usually pretty much move fairly quickly. Average days on market a little bit less, 63 days in Monument. But at the end of the day, real estate is very local. Sometimes it's local by town, sometimes it's local by neighborhood, sometimes it's local by what the competition looks like. And so you really need to know all of those factors before you put your house on the market. That way you can position it for success. And I can pull statistics by zip code, by neighborhood, by subdivision, by street, whatever it takes to get you the most money. And that's part of what we help our clients do, is help them sell their homes for more than asking price. And we are doing that week after week. So if you'd like to get an idea of what your home is worth right now, you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on that green button. Oh, actually, it's yeah, let me say that again. Go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on that kind of school bus yellow button that says get home value. When you do that, it's not going to be an automated value. We actually have one of our specialists take a look at it, look at similar sales to give you a really good, realistic idea what similar homes to yours have sold for in the last few months. And if you are thinking of making a move and you would like to get a free home consultation on what to do and what not to do to get the most money when you sell your home, also get a really good idea what price range your home will sell for, and we can show you all of the buyers that we have looking for homes right now, including our buyers in waiting, all the buyers on Zillow, Realtor.com, our cash buyers, our citywide buyer agent network, and show you some of our great programs like our guaranteed sale and our worry-free move up program, so that you know how what your home is going to sell for and exactly what's going to happen when it does sell. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're really talking about what's going on in the Colorado Springs summer real estate market. Next up, we're going to cover how you can position your home to get the most money when you sell. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing how home sellers know how to get the most money when they sell. Talk to us about that.
Well, the values of homes, they tend to vary widely. Even the same home on the same street at the same size, the values are going to vary very widely according to four different factors. First of all, how well the home is prepared to go on the market. Second of all, is it priced right? Right now, it's a big mistake to overprice a home in this market because buyers are very particular. Homes are getting more expensive. So you want to look like the best deal on the block. And that's what we help our clients do is really price the home realistically versus optimistically. And picking the right agent is absolutely critical to get that done. Also, how it's promoted. Do the pictures look good? You want to be the most attractive home in your neighborhood for sure. And when you go on the market and the market is not excited about your home, you can tell that right away, pretty much by the volume of showings. And I will say right now, it seems like they're a little slow on the uptake, more so than they were before. Like the home will go on the market, and there'll be a week or so of kind of like, oh, maybe I'll check that out, maybe I won't. And then all of a sudden, the volume of showings picks up. So don't be surprised too much like that. But in general, if you're getting just a few showings or no showings, you're probably 3 to 5% off in price and you need to make an adjustment. If you're getting offers, you're in the ballpark. Okay. And the showing activity is a huge clue. Not every home is for every buyer. Doesn't matter how nice the home is. Every buyer has a different thing that they're looking for. And the way you know whether or not you're on track in terms of price and condition is whether or not you're actually getting feedback on the activity of your home. The feedback, what's the competition look like? What are homes that are getting contracts similar to yours? What do they look like and how are they priced? And that's part of what we do for our sellers is we give them regular video updates where I show you the data right on the screen. So you know exactly what's going on, just like I do, so that you can really position the home to get the most money when you sell. So if you are thinking of making a move, you need someone with expertise and knowledge to help you make the best decisions about selling your home. Give us a call. We offer a free in-home consultation on what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale, give you a really good idea what your home will sell for. We'll go over all the closing costs so you know exactly how much you're going to put in your pocket. And then we'll show you our buyers, including our cash offers. Nobody else in town can present you with 3 to 5 cash offers on your home like we can. And you can choose whether or not you want that or whether or not you want to go to the market and see if the market will offer you more. So give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the top ways to buy your next home without having to sell your current home. Stay tuned for that. Damn. Right on. Well, a little bit, but you know what? I screwed up a couple of times. By the time you edit that, that'll be right at
Right at 12.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
All right. Just a second. I could not. But I would think both of them are going to come down for a little bit. But the problem is this: both of them have Jenna's boyfriend has family here in Fort Collins. Jason's girlfriend has family here in Fort Collins. So we'll see which mom you go to, I guess. Okay.
You got big plans this weekend?
We were just talking about that, about whether my kids are going to come down for Mother's Day. And I was saying the difficult thing is that Jenna's boyfriend, his parents live in Fort Collins. Jason's girlfriend, her parents live in Fort Collins. So it's one of those things. Okay, do we go to my parents or your parents? We try to do both over the weekend. And I don't think that it's a dilemma. I don't think they've solved it yet.
Yeah, that's a lot of driving. I
And
like
Jay,
Fort Collins.
yeah, how about you?
Max is in 29 Palms. We're actually going to go out to see him Memorial Day weekend. So I'll see him in a few weeks.
Oh, that's good. That's good. How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's
There
pretty
you go.
chill right now. We've got tickets to go see Slash and the usual stuff.
You got it. All right, I'm ready for number two. You good, Barb?
Ready.
David's good. I'll start us in three, two, one. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate, and it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, you often speak about the home seller's biggest dilemma, and that is having to sell a home before they buy their next home. Most home sellers want to be sure their sale will go as planned, so most home sellers will not take a contract contingent on another home selling. So, what are the top ways a home seller can buy their next home without having to sell their current home? It is quite the catch 22.
It definitely is. And right now it's still kind of teetering on a seller's market all across the Front Range. That means basically less than 90 days of average days on market, which are true all across the Front Range. But remember, those statistics are only for the homes that are selling. There's some that are not selling, and it could only be one of two reasons. They're not marketed right or they're not priced right. So we still have a slightly low inventory, but lower demand than what we've seen before. And of course, homes are far less affordable with the rates going over 7%. Some home sellers actually will consider a contingent offer these days, just because any offer is definitely an offer. And so what we're seeing just as far as the activity snapshot of what the stats that just came out over in the Pikes Peak region, the number of sold listings according to that data is 6.6%. I've seen higher numbers than that. The 1 year change in the median price, though, is up by 5%, and the number of active listings is up by 23.5%. So you can see how the data, like one data tells me 25%, one tells me 30. At the end of the day, we've got more inventory, yet the prices are higher and there's fewer sales. So I think what we're going to see here going through the summer is a little bit of softening in prices. And it's all interest rate driven. But if you look at real estate over the long term, either for single family homes, which I'm showing you a chart right now, that's the gray line, and the blue line is townhomes. Over the long term, going back to the meltdown of 2012, prices are still holding and they're getting higher, right? So if you can't really think of real estate as a flipper purchase, it needs to be long term. And generally, if you're sitting on the home for more than 3 to 5 years, you're probably going to do well if you're going to sell it. Right now, the average price is about 2%. Higher than for 2% for townhomes and 8% higher for single family homes. So that's really a pretty good number. That indicates a really strong market. And that's a good sign. Housing supply, though, has really changed since last year. We're seeing a lot more townhomes go on the market. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that a lot of the townhomes are facing really, really high insurance rates right now. We have one that we're thinking about selling where just in the last couple of years, the HOA dues have almost doubled. And it's like, really? That's just for insurance? That seems crazy. So a lot of people are bailing out of those and getting single family homes. So the buyers that have a house to sell and the ones that need their proceeds to sell are the ones that are really in that catch 22. Now, there are programs out there. There's investors that will let you buy your next home first and then sell your home. And they basically put a lien on your house and loan you your equity. That's kind of how it works. You don't have to qualify for the payment. And you have 90 days after that to sell your home. So that's kind of cool. That works pretty well. That's one of the solutions, especially for those that can't qualify for two house payments. But a lot of people fear that. only because they're not really certain their house is going to sell. So that's one of the ways, probably the most effective way to be able to buy your next home is to get your current home under contract. At that point, everybody knows you're getting to the finish line. Then you can start making plans to move. And as long as the deals go through okay, it's not a problem. The downside of that is if the contract could potentially fail, and that happens occasionally too. That's why the timing may not necessarily 100% work out in that situation. I just got a call this morning. I have a seller that's under contract. They want to buy in another area, and the agent is trying to get me to align the dates, which I'm not sure their buyer will agree to that. So you have to be kind of prepared that you might have to stay in temporary housing for a short period of time to make that transition. Now, the people that are fortunate enough to buy their next home first and sell their current home later, that is the most low stress way to do it. If a lot of people that have paid for homes do this quite a bit, where they go and buy their other home either in the same market or in a new market, and then they put their house on the market. It's very chill to do it that way, but not everybody can afford that. There's another option too. It's something called a recast. And I've had a client use this before. It's really cool. You have to ask the lender to do it. A lot of times local lenders will do this. So what does that mean? If you have a way to buy your next home first, but then once your home sells, you want to take that equity and put it down on the loan of your new home. There are some lenders that offer what's called a recast, where so you bought your new home first on your new loan, then your existing home sells a month or two later, you take that equity and make a huge payment down on that loan. Some of the lenders will actually readjust the payment and lower your payment for a very small fee. And that's a great deal. I've seen a couple of people set that program up, and it really is a win-win for you because it means you don't have to refinance when your house sells. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And it's really one of the biggest dilemma that people face when they want to upgrade or downsize and improve their lifestyle to sell a home. What do they do if they need to sell their current home before they buy their next home? And actually, we have some great solutions. So when we come back, we're going to cover some of those solutions on the way that you can make that transition without having too much uncertainty that it's all going to come through. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 if you'd like to get a free in-home consultation on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. We'll give you a really good idea what your home will sell for and how much you put in your pocket, and we'll present to you all of our buyers. We can typically match any home with at least 100 buyers. That would be a high match for your home, plus all the buyers on Zillow and Realtor.com. Are cash buyers. We can present cash offers to you on almost every home and offer you some of our fabulous guarantees. So call us 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and you can reach her at 719-301-3900. And we're talking about that elephant in the room, having the dilemma of needing your equity out of your current home in order to buy your next home. So, Barb, what are some other solutions for home sellers that have a house to sell?
Well, I've seen some home sellers actually take a home equity line of credit. Now, those interest rates are higher even than a typical mortgage rate. But if you have a home that has plenty of equity in it or that's paid off, what you can do is take a home equity line of credit enough that you could purchase your next home, right? And then when your current home sells, it just gets paid off through the sale. And that's a pretty good idea. In general, those home equity lines of credit, though, they're going to loan you up to about 75 or 80% of your home's value in the form of equity if you have that much. But the good news about it is you don't have to sell your home first. I've got a couple clients doing that exact transition right now where they could buy their next home first, take their time moving, make it as less stress as possible. And then once their home sells, then they actually pay off that line of credit and they're good to go in their new home. So that's one solution. Occasionally, you can pull money from retirement accounts. You can actually get a loan on a 401k. That's an option for some people. But in most cases, though, you have to really talk to your tax professional and your investment professional about this because like if you have an IRA, typically if you pull the money, especially prior to retirement years, you could face a tax penalty when it comes out. Another option is what I mentioned earlier, which is the buy now, sell later. And that's really cool. There's a company that actually offers to front you the equity in your home. And instead of it being a loan where you have to make payments, it becomes a lien on your current home. So you get the resources to buy your next home. And then after you buy your next home, then you sell your current home and just pay off the lien that's put on your house of that equity. And I actually had somebody use this option one time in order to overcome competition. So they had initially made an offer contingent on their home selling that was on the market but not sold. And then a competing buyer came in that didn't have a house to sell. So the way they kicked them out of there is they used this option and were able to take the home equity out of their paid for home to say, I no longer need a sale contingency. I can buy this home without selling my current home. And they ended up getting that house. So it's a really good solution for some people. And then, of course, selling your home first. For some people do that. They sell their home first, go into an apartment, have their resources. And there are some builders that actually won't take sale contingencies. So you have to be ready for temporary housing if that happens. Building a home typically could take up to 1 year. And I find that most people really won't make a move unless they've identified a definite destination. We also can guarantee the sale of homes, especially with our cash offer program. We actually have 64 high net worth cash buyers that could come in and make offers on your home as is. You don't have to worry about putting it on the market. You don't have to worry about fixing it up, and you can get it sold in just a few weeks. So if you'd like to get a cash offer on your home, give us a call. 719-301-3900, or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com and we would be happy to discuss it with you. Or if you want to do the traditional sales process, we'll give you all options up front. We're the only company that can do that. Sit down with you, have cash offers in hand as well, not just one, but multiple, as well as be able to show you how you get the most money when you sell, and you could pick whichever sale platform that you would like to do. It's a free in-home consultation. You're never obligated to accept a contract. You're never obligated to sell your home. And we give you tips on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale, give you a good idea what it will sell for, all of your closing costs, so you know exactly how much you'll put in your pocket when it sells. So if you're interested in that free service, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
If you're thinking of making a move and you're looking to trade up to another home, call Barb and her team at 719-301-3900. A short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about what does it cost to sell a home, and do you have to fix up everything before you sell? Stay tuned for that. Very good.
Thank you.
As they say, what? No, thank you. Let's see here. Okay. Uh, mm. David's good. Barb, you ready to go?
Yep, let's let it rip. I'm
All
ready.
right. I'll count us down in three, two, one. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed. Now, Barb, with the new settlement with the National Association of Realtors, people are asking if the cost of selling their home will be less or more. And most want to know what they need to do to fix up before selling. Talk to us about that.
Well, Richard, I'm actually excited about the changes of the settlement of the National Association of Realtors because it has been a difficult challenge for us, only because the way commissions are shared is done through the multiple listing service. And once a number is put in there, it's 100% non-negotiable. It doesn't matter what happens in the contract. So that's a problem for some sellers because I just met with one last night. He goes, "Man, I want that gig. That guy, all he did was his buyer went to the open house and he wrote up a contract and he's going to make thousands of dollars." He goes, "It's amazing." So things are going to change, and I think it's a good thing. So it's going to force the buyers to be able to basically shop around for services, know what they're getting, because as it stands before, it was the fix was sort of in the contracts. The agent got paid. All they had to do was write a contract. They didn't even have to show up, which has been a problem. Now what has changed is starting late July, no commission is going to be offered through the MLS. So how does a buyer's agent know exactly how they're going to get paid? Well, it could be two things. One of them is they could have an agreement with their buyer, because that's the second criteria, is before they show a house, they have to have an agreement with their buyer. That is not the case right now. And that's been one of my most frustrating things is I know that many agents, the very first meeting with that buyer is at the house. The state doesn't require that they verify that they know they can purchase a home. They also don't have to know what the buyer's looking for, and it's an automatic payment if they write the offer. So that's going to change. They're actually going to have a written agreement with their buyer before they show a home, which I think is a good thing because hopefully they will have a little bit more attention to detail and actually ask the buyer what they're looking for and not waste people's time. I find a lot of people that have to take their dogs and get out of the house, make sure the house is clean, make sure it's ready to show. And so they're doing that for everything, every single showing, and really unaware that these agents are just using an opportunity to open a door as a way to meet a maybe buyer in hopes that they buy something. They don't care what it is. So I think it's going to change, and I think it's going to force the agents to actually negotiate their fee. And either the buyer is going to have to pay it out of their closing cost, or they're going to have to put it in the contract and negotiate it that way. So that is a very good skill that I think most real estate agents should have. And in general, when people sell homes, most people, of course, want the most money when they sell their home. And they want to know what they can put in their pocket when it sells. But the problem is right now that if a seller, they tend to, I see this all the time when I meet with sellers, is they'll say, "Well, I want this much. I'm not going to sell it unless I get this much." I hear these things all the time. And I would love to get them, millions of dollars if I could on each sale. But at the end of the day, it really is what the buyer is willing to pay for the home. So if a seller makes a mistake there and actually overprices their home, and then it sits on the market week after week, showing after showing, without offers, without contracts, according to the national statistics, the seller will actually net less money in the end. And you can't really price your home according to those automated valuations because they're not necessarily accurate. Sometimes they're high, sometimes they're low. Half the time they don't have all the square footage. I just talked to a seller last week that had multiples of old and new pictures, and they're like, "This is not representing our home." I said, "Don't worry. Once we go on the market, we're going to erase all that and it'll look great." And if you actually go into realtor.com and look for your address on there, if you scroll down to something that's called real value, you will actually see three different automated values for your home. They could vary as much as $100,000. So pricing is an art and it's a skill and it takes some expertise. And it brings in a whole lot of factors. It brings in location, the market, the age, the condition of the home. What does your competition look like? What kind of improvements have you made? What about the neighborhood? So generally the market's going to tell you right away if you got that right. Let me show you some examples. I had a home last year, beautiful home over in the northwest part of town, and there was a similar sale that sold for over $1 million. And this home was pretty. They had updated the kitchen. The master bath was amazing. Had a beautiful treed lot, gorgeous landscaping, the whole thing. And we had buyers looking at it and we had offers made, but the offers were far lower than the asking price, even after we lowered the price. And it took quite a long time to actually get it sold. The first buyer that made an offer came back again and we finally negotiated and it ended up selling for a couple of percentage points below the asking price. But had he priced it right from the beginning, he probably would have had a bidding more and it might have sold for a little bit more. That's why it's important to really know how to price a home very realistically versus optimistically. You have to look at recent sales, compare apples to apples, and most of all, the competition. What does the competition look like? Because if you all of a sudden have a whole bunch of similar homes for sale, the buyers are going to look at all of that and they might miss your home. Promotion is absolutely critical too. So if you are thinking of making a move in the next 3 to 6 months, this is one of the services we actually provide. Is we come take a look at your home. We'll bring similar sales. We'll give you tips on what to do and what not to do to get the most money when you sell your home. We'll go over all the closing costs, show you exactly how much you'll put in your pocket when it sells, and give you a great idea what the market's doing right now. Typically, as far as what it costs to sell a home, for most people, if they have a mortgage, the largest expense is the actual mortgage, paying off the mortgage. Commissions are negotiable, but you got to factor in commissions, settling up taxes, which usually works out to be a half a year to 1 year of property taxes. And in most cases in this market, the seller pays title insurance. If the home has an HOA, they have to settle up the HOA dues. So you can, plan on average about 7% of the actual sales price is going to be what it would cost to sell your home. You can do more or less, but it's all about value and price when it comes to that. And then another question that we have all the time, of course, is fixing up a home. So when we come back, we're going to talk about that. Like, do you really have to fix everything up when you sell a home? And if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to get a free in-home consultation, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program and the proprietor of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can listen to replays of this show anytime on all of the major podcast platforms. Plus, just go to her website, barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb Schlinker. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900. Now, Barb, does a home seller have to fix up everything before they sell their home?
Well, actually, Richard, a home seller doesn't have to fix up anything if they sell their home. We actually have a program where we can get you multiple cash offers on your home and you don't have to fix a single thing. Now, if the home needs some work, some of these cash buyers will make a lower offer than a home that doesn't need work. But let's say you're just going on the market and you're going to do the traditional sale and wait for the live in your home buyer to make an offer. Typically, that's the way you get the most money when you sell, but not always. And my experience has been that if the home needs a lot of work, buyers will skip over homes that need work. According to the National Association of Realtors study, 40% of buyers won't even take a look at a home that needs a work unless, now there's one exception, unless it's priced low enough where they can go in and do the work themselves. So it's all about pricing at the end of the day. If the home is priced appropriately and it's move-in ready, generally it's going to sell pretty much at full market value. But if you overprice a home, even if it's pretty, it may not sell. So you have to really look at the competition. You have to really look at what similar homes are selling for in that price range and what's available, because that's what the buyers care about. And that's part of what we do. And then once you go on the market's going to tell you right away if we missed it. In general, I had a home a couple years back that was in a beautiful neighborhood. It had spectacular views, but it really was an 80s, 90s time warp. It needed all kinds of updating, lots of dramatic color. I mean, we're talking for that price point, it needed new counters. It had tons of wallpaper. All those things cost a lot of money. And before they went on the market, they got an appraisal. And the appraiser said the house was worth 1.25 million. But it didn't sell anywhere near that. In fact, it ended up selling about 400,000 less than that because it needed so much work. The showing activity is going to give you a clue. The feedback activity is going to give you a clue. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, if you price your home below market value and let the market gravitate towards full market value, that works as well. So that's part of what we do is we sit down with our home sellers and we give them options about what to do. I just sold a home down in Fountain and it was completely gutted. I'm showing pictures of it right now. I mean, the basement is down to the studs, basically. The cabinets are gone in the kitchen. The lot is nice. The yard is nice. And so what the seller did is they priced it almost 40% below repaired value. We got 30 offers on that home and it ended up selling for 10% higher than asking price. So it's always going to gravitate to whatever the full market value is. And you really need to pick the right agent that understands pricing appropriately because it depends on pricing and the home. The home will sell if it's priced right, and that's part of what we do. Not every home sells during the listing. There's some homes that go on the market and then they expire because either the seller decided not to price it to market or the agent said, oh, your home is worth so much. And I've seen that before where the clients will tell me after their home doesn't sell and they call me to help them. They'll say, well, this agent said my home will sell for that much. That's why we priced it that way. We didn't have any showings for 4 months. I didn't hear from them at all. And then all of a sudden I've had enough. It's time to make a change. And then when the home gets priced appropriately, it sells in just a few weeks. So it's all about the 4 P's: preparation, pricing, promotion, and picking the right agent. So if you'd like to find out more about that, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or you can visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Not all agents are the same. One of the things that we're offering on our YouTube channel, which you can just go to YouTube and search Barb Has the Buyers, there is a whole video series on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. And you're welcome to go view that at any time or call us at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker on the Your Real Estate Voice show. And if you're thinking of selling your home and you want to get the most amount of money when you sell, call Barb 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about what are the most common reasons that a Colorado home fails to sell. Plus, we'll be talking about Barb's hot new listings. You don't want to miss those. I'm running to the men's room real quick. I'll be right back. Oh.
Okay. Cranking through it.
Yeah, he had to step out to the restroom.
Yeah, no problem. I gotta leave about the same time. I gotta leave at 12:40.
I got to run across the hall.
Got something at 12 or at 1?
I have something at 1 and then another something at 2 and another something at 3. I've
Oh boy,
fully booked today.
that's good.
Yeah, we like that.
All right, now I just hid the page. Where did it go? Segment 4. Okay. I look at my notes and the slides just in case, you know. I'm trying to be kind today. People are saying snarky things about me, so agents mostly. So I let off the gas a little bit. Do you think I'm too mean in my show?
No, I think you're pointing out where they could improve, and it's up to them to either take it as constructive criticism or to just get mad about
Most of them hate me.
it.
And there's some serious talking smack about me. It's kind of funny.
If I was in the industry, I would be taking notes. I would,
Yeah.
okay, well, if I did it this way, then I would have better results, and my client would be fully serviced rather than just kind of thrown out there to the wolves.
Yeah. It's I think the overpaid door openers was fun for me to say, but oh man, I know they hate that one.
Okay, I am good. Barb, how about you?
Mhm.
David, I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, most home sellers have a great deal of love for their properties, and sometimes that can translate into unrealistic beliefs, resulting in mistakes that could cost them thousands of dollars, or the house might not sell. So, what are the most common reasons that a Colorado house just doesn't sell?
Well, Richard, I did some research on this, and of course, I have, experience in this arena. And the problem is, most sellers naturally want the most money. And sometimes they base their pricing decisions, and it is the seller's decision, by the way. It's not the agent's decision, but they base it on, either what they spent, the improvements that they put in their home, uh, what their neighbors sold for. There's a lot of different factors that come into their decision, how much they want to make their next move. There's all these things that happen, and you really can't rely on, Zillow. Zillow definitely has some pretty big presence online. I get that. However, they lost almost $1 billion overpaying for homes in 2021. So you can't rely on them. You can't really rely on the averages. You can't rely on the average price per square foot. That never seems to work out. And it's kind of difficult to rely on similar sales as well. It is a piece of information that you need to know in case your buyer is getting a loan, because that's what appraisers care about. An appraiser is a person that comes in, they're a licensed person in the state of Colorado, and they're verifying to the lender that whatever your contract is on your home and the amount that the buyer is paying is substantiated with similar sales. They have to prove to the lender that it's worth that much, because back during the meltdown, they had a whole lot of fraud going on and people taking cash out and just some crazy stuff that happened that created some issues. So that's why we look at similar sales. It gives you kind of a benchmark of what the market value is. But at the end of the day, the current market decides what your home will sell for. And I can show you that information if you give us the opportunity, and how the market decides on how you get the most money. So when I did some research, I had some fun with this. I found a really cool article about, when it's time to sell, what are the things that can cause a failure in the sale? And there were a dozen of them. Some of them I agree with, some of them I didn't. But the number one for sure is if the price is too high. And the market's going to tell you right away if you're wrong. It'll tell you by lack of showings or feedback of weird stuff, and to be honest, it doesn't matter how good the marketing is. If it's overpriced, it's just not going to sell. Or you could say one of the things that they put in there is if you miss the peak of the market. Well, that's just ridiculous. I don't agree with that statement, because the truth is it doesn't matter when the peak, yeah, we had a boom back in 2021 in the first half of 2022, and the prices were a little bit higher, but the interest rates were less than half of they are right now. And it's all about affordability for buyers. If they can afford it, they love the house, they're gonna pay for it, right? But so I wouldn't worry about timing or the current market. You have to deal with the current market right now when you're selling a home. So if you missed a window, a lot of people fear that and they think, oh, well, I want to sell my home in the winter because of X. That's fine. Don't worry about it. We sell homes year round. In the last 3 years, I think one of my biggest months for sales was December. So believe it or not, we sell homes every single month. So don't worry about that. If you happen to have a specific problem about your home, sometimes that factors into it. A problem would be like a broken thing, a material defect of the home. Some things you cannot overcome. Like I was showing a house just a few weeks ago where it was a really cute house. It was in good condition. Just one problem. It was a big problem. The whole front half of the house was running downhill. Like if I put a marble on the tile floor, it wouldn't stay still. It would roll downhill really quickly. And, this buyer looked at that as, wow, that's a really big ticket item to repair. So unfortunately, the buyer had to pass on that home. It is possible you could work with the wrong buyer, and that could cause a home not to sell. That does happen on occasion. Just a few months ago, we had a buyer that was presented to us. They made a good offer. It seemed like they were able to be approved. I talked with the lender to verify they were approved for the loan, but he was getting a new job. He had the job offer, but it hadn't been completely finalized yet. And the lender approved the loan based on contingent on them getting a job offer. So it was kind of a done deal, but not ready. So finally, 5 weeks into it, the offer letter comes. Whoops, he's got to get a security clearance, a super duper top secret with special information type security clearance. And that could take months. And that when we found that out, it was like, well, we don't know how long this is going to take. You can't tie up a home that long. So unfortunately, it was the right buyer. It was the wrong timing for that buyer. They probably could go on to buy a home after that. But what was interesting to me was that the buyer's agent didn't know anything about it, didn't know where he was going to work, didn't do his due diligence. That was after he wrote the offer. And that's unfortunate, but it's how the system works right now. The state does not require the agent know anything about the buyer's ability to perform. So that's why we have to make sure that job is done. If the home is deeply unconventional, well, I wouldn't worry about that. There's a price for everything. Sometimes the staging can be a miss. I showed a home last weekend where their idea of staging, now the kitchen and that area looked pretty good, but in the bedrooms, I don't even know why they bothered. They put 2 yoga mats in the middle of the floor. It didn't do anything for me. Curb appeal, very, very important. Most people spend most of their time looking at curb appeal, so you have to get that right. It's really tough this time of year because if we get one more freeze, all the green buds are gonna, fail and have to start again. But curb appeal, at least get the home ready with, nice fresh mulch in the yard. Make it look good, because buyers, if they like what they see online, they're going to drive by. And if they don't like curb appeal, they're going to keep driving. Also, if your photos aren't good, overall, the industry has gotten a lot better at that, thankfully. But there are still some listings that go on the market where the photos look just absolutely awful and they shouldn't really be shown. The whole idea behind marketing is to attract the buyers, not repel the buyers. Or what if the listing description doesn't hit the mark? I actually I took over a listing from an agent a few months ago where if you go down in the basement of this home, it did have a big crack. It was a crack through the foundation wall, and they had it under contract with the other agent. The deal fell apart over this crack. So the seller went and got a structural report, and the structural engineer said, it's fine, it's normal wear and tear for its age of home. So what does the agent do with the first sentence of the description? A structural engineer report is available. Well, most buyers are going to pass that listing by just based on the description. They're going to be, oh, it's got structural problems. Maybe I shouldn't go look at it. So again, marketing is for attraction. You can always overcome objections once they get there. But anyway, that was a problem. It was a marketing issue. Or if you get bad advice from the agent, I've seen that before where the agent doesn't give you good advice about pricing, or if they don't fix important issues, like if they fail to fix something that really is a problem. Like let's say you go into a house and the flooring is a big deal. The carpet looks really tired. Other than that, it's fine. What happens almost subliminally, I can't say that word, almost internally with the buyer is they're thinking, okay, I like this house, but I'm going to have to spend $3,000 to $5,000 replacing the carpet. I don't have that extra cash. I'm going to move on and not buy that home. So it's really important how you approach marketing, and not every agent really studies this. We do, because we know it's part of what we do. And we have to get that right, because you don't want to be rejected online. You never know who that is going to be. Pricing a home realistically always gets you the most money. And sometimes you can price a home just right so you can get the most offers. But if you actually put out their bad images, you're going to get rejected. The buyers won't even spend their time to come look at it if it's not the right price and if it's not marketed correctly. And doing this on your own is difficult to learn. So if you are thinking of making a move and you want to know what your home will sell for in the market and how to get this right so you don't fail at the sale process, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with the host of the program, that's Barb Schlinker, of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you are thinking of making a move, just call Barb, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, it's time for the lightning round of some of your hot new listings. What do you have?
Absolutely. Well, I have a beautiful 2.5 acre lot on Boulder Lane up in Woodmore Mountain. Oh, if you want to build and have fabulous views and a getaway that's close to town, this is it, priced at $129,999. Also, a fabulous townhome close to Peterson Air Force Base. It has 2 master suites at $354 on Riley Grove. A beautiful home on Powers Road, priced at $379,999 on 35 acres with a huge detached garage. I also have a fabulous home on Snowbird Drive in the mid-5s. This home is completely remodeled and looks amazing. Also, another home on Soapweed, that's out in Calhan. It's in the mid-4s. It's on 35 acres with an awesome barn in great condition and fresh carpet. And then I have another beautiful patio home on Wind River, priced in the low 5s. This thing is spectacular, completely move-in ready. I have a gorgeous 2-story close to the Air Force Academy on Allegiance Drive in the low 6s. And then 2 homes out in Peyton, one on Gull Lane. This one has solar, main level living, and it's really configured to have multiple families in it at once. Lots of outbuildings, lots of fencing for your horses and all that. And then a beautiful home on Star Ranch Road. This home is priced in the upper eights in the Broadmoor, and one more on a Cowie Way in Peyton. This fabulous home is at $674,999 on 5 acres in beautiful condition. So if you'd like to find out about all of our homes available, you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com or give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every weekend. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Remember, you can see replays of this show on barbhasthebuyers.com, or you can listen to the podcast on all of the popular platforms, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, many, many others. Thanks for listening this week. And to reach out to Barb, again, that number is 719-301-3900. Have a great weekend, Barb. Happy Mother's Day to you. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Have a great weekend as well.
There you go. Okay.
Yes.
So for the promo, what are we thinking here?
Cost to sell a house, and do I have to fix everything before
I like that.
Yeah.
I think everybody wonders about that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take the headphones off. 3, 2, I'm sorry.